Baby, he is not a child molester. I had to pull out the mic for you. He is not a child molester. That's just what they want us to believe because he was such a positive man with the great knowledge, the rightful knowledge. And he was putting it out there, and they didn't want that. So, what did they do? Accuse him of something that he did not do. And this is the problem with a lot of people, anyways. And that's why a lot of people will forever be stuck in the 3D dimension because you refuse to go do your research on something. You're just going to believe something that someone else said and not go do your research. You feel me? You're going to believe what's just slapped in your face and never go dig to do your research. And that's why people are going to stay in the ignorance spell. But I'm going to just get to it. I'm going to start off by saying Dr. York was literally plotted against by the government, the FBI, and they had significant special help from his little goofy son, Jacob York. Jacob was literally mad at his dad for no reason. I'm talking foolish reasons. And this is a grown man we talk about. He was mad because his dad didn't want to give him money towards his music career. You a grown man, like what you mad about? And why would someone like Dr. Malachi Z. York, peace and love and positivity, sponsor a music career that's all covered up in money, drugs, sex and all that stuff? He was literally trying to get some money to take on Lil Kim. We know what Lil Kim used to say in them lyrics. Why would he put money into that? That makes no sense. Then over top of that, he blamed Dr. Malachi Z. York for the death of his mother, which also made absolutely no sense because his mother died of a brain aneurysm that ran in her family because her father and her brother died from a brain aneurysm. So how is it his fault? Like you just mad, like it's given a whole bunch of angriness because he's given a spoiled little child. He was raised up in a great neighborhood, but you know how some people be like, they raised up in a great little family, great little neighborhood, but still want to be out in the streets being someone that they're really not. And the thing is, it is so much witnesses that literally stated, like I'm talking like 3, 4, 5 of them that literally stated that he's the one that came up with the plan. You feel me? That he hated his dad so much and wanted to see him go down, which is why he helped the FBI do so. But I want to just add my little 2 cents in real quick. I feel like because Jacob was a creep role, like he was into all that nastiness stuff, the industry and all that. He was the child molester. He was the one that was transporting kids across state borders and stuff. So one of his victims, their mother reported him to the FBI for raping her daughter. That case never got investigated. I feel like they called him in and was like, look, we got a mutual op, so we're going to ignore your case, but we're going to bring down your father and you're going to help us. I feel like that's exactly what happened. Because why he just randomly talking to the FBI? But let's keep going. So this man was really working with the FBI. He even went and told his sister that he was working with them. He was on their payroll and everything was set up already to bring him down. He also said that she could get a lot of money, which is what he told a lot of the victims, that they can get a lot of money if they said that Dr. York touched them. She ain't do it though. She a real one, unlike the others. He stated that he chose child molestation to bring him down because it's the easiest to charge someone with and the hardest to defend. Also, it would be believable because it is a lot of children and women living on the land. He then went on to recruit a whole bunch of ex-members of the community. You feel me? Like people that left, some people that got kicked out. So now it was one girl, she got kicked off. She got kicked out and she was just real mad. She was just real mad. But yeah, he went on to recruit them for them to work on this little plot. She gonna say this, he gonna say this. Da, 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 da. He literally moved like I think like 4 girls into a house. He fraudulently got a big house for all of them to move in so they could be working with each other. They started freaking each other, getting them. So he literally formed a close little bond with the ladies, okay? And they was blinded by the money and all that stuff. They like, oh, I'm gonna get money for this. Oh, he got money. I'm gonna do what he tell us to do. You know how some people be. Then the FBI literally sponsored a trip to South Beach, Miami, the Yams. And he invited a whole bunch of ex-members of the community, you feel me? and disguised it as a reunion so, they would come through. During the trip, it's a lot of drugs and alcohol being in. But during the trip, he would always bring up, child molestation and money and how much money they could get if they said that Dr. York touched them. So, many wasn't with it because they knew that, come on now, your dad is a good man. Many wasn't with it. The corrupt minds, they was with it, and some was literally forced or blackmailed into going along with it. You feel me? So if you hearing me, it was a setup from the start. Okay. Now let's get into the arrest. Okay. The original arrest was for transporting kids from New York to Georgia to, and child molestation. But wait, where is my uncle getting the time to do this? Like, for real, do they not know how much books he has written? Like 1,200 books. He knows so much. He done learned so much different languages, and he's constantly working to better his community. But y'all talking about he got time to go be transporting kids and sleeping with y'all. It like, stop playing with my man's, for real. Stop playing with him, because that's a lie. Like, stop, for real. Now back to my story. So the arrest gave very much overkill. They came through deep, and I'm talking about deep. I'm talking about a dozen. So much. A dozen mean 12, but anyway, more than 12. Just know it was so much people, so much armed police officers. They had like 200 FBI agents coming from DC, Cali, different cities and towns in Georgia. They had the tactical force there with their tactical force uniform and their guns and their shields. They had SWAT teams literally shutting down the whole entire highway. You feel me? They had the helicopters with people literally sliding down the rope, coming down from the helicopter, jumping on the land. They was pointing guns at innocent people, tell them get on the ground, pointing guns at innocent people, pointing guns at children's heads, telling them to get on the ground too. You feel me? Busting windows, blowing out windows in the buildings. Why y'all doing all that for one person? And y'all dared to arrest someone for child molestation. So y'all dare to say to kids, why y'all got the kids on the floor with guns pointing at their head? Can you let me know, please? Because it just don't give. And the math ain't mathing, y'all. Now let's get into the indictment, y'all. It's about to start getting real juicy and crazy, okay? So at the indictment, they asked Shorty, do you have any evidence? And baby girl said no. She literally had no evidence. So y'all just did all of that for a person that y'all don't even got no evidence against, no physical evidence, nothing. Okay, boom, boom, bam, bam, bam. So it was a former officer. His name was Joseph Hipner. Real cool, real nice. I watched a little documentary. He real cool. He went ahead and launched his own private little investigation into this case and found so much misconduct. I said misconduct. So much misconduct and procedure, inaccuracies. Like, what y'all got going on here? It's giving unorganized. Listen, y'all, the special investigator literally said herself out her little mouth that she had no evidence to prove that Dr. York transported kids. And that was the root of the arrest, the root of the indictment. And you saying you ain't have no evidence? Come on now. Come on now. So because that initial indictment was very much weak, and it was going to get thrown out, they wasn't going to win that at all. Instead of letting my mans go, they did not do that. What they did, they went and re-indicted him. But they re-indicted him for racketeering under the RICO law, calling his community, the people that he has been helping for so long, a criminal enterprise. They was digging. They was digging. They ain't had nothing. They get to start making stuff up. Y'all go a RICO. The Young Thug got a RICO. Why would Dr. Malachi Z. York be a RICO? Okay. And the crazy thing is, a lot of the charges that's on that re-indictment was not even on the initial indictment. So where is y'all getting that from? Where is y'all getting it? Like, it's giving made up. Okay. And even on that initial indictment, they was literally charging him for things that wasn't even a crime at that time. Like, sloppy? I think so. Lying? I think so. Plot? I think so. Listen to this nonsense, y'all. So during that little illegal search, that siege, all that nonsense that they pulled off on his community, during that they literally kidnapped 5 kids. And yes, I'm saying kidnapped because they did not get no verbal or no written consent from no parent to take their kids. So they took the 5 kids and they was in the sheriff's custody, right? They put them in the indictment as victims, but then they were medically checked, right? They was medically checked to see if they were touched, and the judge ruled that they were not touched because the medical examination proved that they was not touched and never have been touched. Okay, so listen to this. The judge ruled it, but what did they do? They still kept the kids in their custody for months. For months, okay? And they went ahead and kept them as victims in the indictment, even though that it was ruled that they was not touched. And on top of that, they went and sealed the ruling from the judge saying that the kids were not touched. Now listen to this. It was 4 women that also got arrested, right? Well, I wouldn't say arrested, but they took them in, right? They listed them as victims, but they came out and said nothing happened. I'm not a victim. So because they didn't lie on Dr. York, they literally turned them as co-defendants of Dr. Malachi York. That's petty. Like, that is real petty. So all of that was going on. They had the children, they had innocent women, innocent children, and they was torturing Dr. York, like harassing him and torturing him in jail for him to take a plea deal. He even had a lawyer, attorney that was literally working for the other side, took like $1.2 million cash from his sister, saying that he's gonna, beat the case, but in his head he already knew he was only gonna try to make him take a plea deal. Like, come on now, that's petty if you ask me. So the plea deal literally took like a week to get it together because they told him that the women were receiving the same treatment he was receiving, and he was sleeping on concrete. He wasn't eating. They was refusing to give him his medicine, literally treating him with the utmost disrespect, like he wasn't even a human being. And why would he want that for the women? Like, he's not that type of person. He's not gonna want that for the women. And it was one of the 4 women had MS. So if they was refusing him his medication, they would be refusing her medication. And a person with MS not getting their medication can lead to some serious problems. So him and the person he went into the little agreement with the plea deal because he knew, well, he thought, which he should have been able to beat the case. You feel me? And the thing is, the whole plea case took a week long for them to even settle, simply because they included in the plea that, yeah, they will release all the other people, but he also has to tell his whole entire community that everything that he has been teaching for the past 30 years is a lie. What does that have to do with what y'all arrested him for? Why y'all want him to tell them that everything he taught was a lie? If everything he taught was not true, if it wasn't true, or if it wasn't, intimidating to y'all, why he gotta tell everybody it was a lie? So that's a red flag right there. Now on to the pretrial, because just listen to how it started out, okay? So like I said, he didn't trust them attorneys. He let one go. There was still one remaining. He said he wanted him off the case. Dr. Malachi wanted him off the case. The judge literally said no. How you gonna tell me no? How you gonna tell me no? Like, the judge literally told him no. And then when the pretrial started, that's when he allowed the attorney to go, which is petty because that only left Dr. Malachi's attorney that actually wanted to see him out of jail, prison, whatever it is, and that literally wanted to see him out, only gave him a month to go through like a year and a half of court documentations. That's petty. So it literally gave him, that's a major setback right there. Now let's get into these testimonies, because that's the only type of evidence they had, and it was false, fake evidence. Okay, so let's just get into it. I'm going to start off by saying the people that were literally eyewitnesses, okay, some of the people that Jacob York even tried to recruit for this false plot, they were not allowed to testify, okay? They went into the court. They testified in private without the jury even there. They They excused the jury, they let them testify, and then they told them that you are not allowed to testify, and your statement will be blocked. That makes no sense. Why are you blocking their testimony because they're exposing the truth? And that's I ain't gonna do too much about that situation, but that's just self-explanatory. The people that was eyewitness to the conspiracy testimonies were blocked and limited. Okay, so I'm gonna just briefly read some of the stuff that the people that testimonies were blocked. The people that literally eyewitness, you feel me, to the conspiracy. I'm gonna just read like a little bit of the stuff they said, and I'm gonna also put it up on the screen too. So Farrah Muhammad, she's an eyewitness to the conspiracy and plot. Jacob York tried to recruit Farrah, but failed. Farrah went to the South Beach trip and witnessed everything. Something that she said on several occasions while in Florida. Jacob would talk about his father, Malachi York. I witnessed him saying that he was going to bring his father down on child molestation charges because it was easy to get someone convicted with that. Jacob even asked me to go along with the story. I said no. It didn't make sense because I never lived around his father. The next person is Leah Mabry, which is his sister, Jacob's sister, who he told to go to the FBI and say that she was molested by her father, Malachi York. Jacob also told her that he was on payroll with the FBI. Okay. What was this? She said Jacob told me that he was on payroll of the FBI and that I could get in on it and make some real money working with him. He told me that he needed more people to go along with it to make it more believable. He said that I would be good for it because I was close to Dr. York, our father. I didn't go on a trip and stop communication with Jacob. He told me to choose his world or Dr. York's world. I chose Dr. York's world, the world of truth. That's a real one right there. She also said that the judge, I don't care to say her name, she was called into the courtroom to give a testimony to Judge Royal without the jurors present. Judge Royal then told her that 90% of her testimony would not be allowed in the court. I wasn't allowed to talk about no conversations between Jacob and myself. That makes no sense. Like, why can't she talk about? Come on now. And then next is his best friend ex best friend David Pryor. Jacob came to Damon with the conspiracy and wanted him to alter bank statements in order to purchase a large home in order to house all of his women, the female ex members of the organization. He said he basically talked about how Malachi was easily finesse them girls because in their community the females were raised, you mean the men were not, well, none of them was exposed to things like drugs, crime, poverty, and other ills the world had to offer. The females were raised and taught to be virtuous women and respectful young ladies. A lot of them were naive to various experiences in society, so it was easy to lure young naive females and promises of money, clothes, nice home, and cars. You could practically take control of young woman's mind in her hopes that she will receive any of those things. Jacob knew this and he still did it. All of us knew it. You feel me? He said what I witnessed was his overwhelming, sex obsession. Cause something wrong with him. He had an obsession. He was nasty, okay? He was nasty, okay? Another thing is he felt as though he was responsible. Jacob felt as though Dr. York was responsible for his mother's death, also because he felt as though Dr. Malachi Z. York had enough money to give him to help him with his music career, and he never did. He was jealous of Dr. Malachi Z. York's positive influence on people's lives, and in all his jealousy, he envied Dr. York. That is a personal vendetta with false, malicious intent, and it will be exposed. He was not playing, okay? He bragged about the South Beach trip, how he got to hit all them girls. Yeah. And then he even says, in conclusion, none of these accusations or statements made by any of these so-called witnesses were based on facts. It was based on feelings of emotional hang-up, jealousies, envy, greed, and will, and should not stand up in any court of law that abides by truth and justice. And this is what I would have testified to during the trial. However, his testimony was blocked by Judge Royal once again. He was told to testify without the jury being present, and after that, the judge straight up told him the testimony could not be testified in court. So it's like now it's like a whole bunch of points and stuff. So it's like I'm gonna just put it on the screen and let y'all screenshot it because I don't feel like going through all of that. And then it is Habiba Washington. This is the lead prosecutor witness that recanted her statement, her testimony against Dr. York. Okay, these are key things. Someone asked her why you want to come out with the truth now. She said it's really, really important for me to come up with the truth now because I don't sleep at night knowing that two people are spending their lives in jail as I speak because of statements that a bunch of ex disgruntled members came out with. The whole trial against Malachi was personal. It was personal anger reasons. We all had our own issues while we were angry with him, and Jacob told us that we could come out with a story. We could eventually file for a class action lawsuit. We could all sue him for millions of dollars and get money from it. And we could even go to making movies. And we could even go to making books and stuff like that. So everybody fed off that idea. It definitely do give naive little girls just wanting money saying anything. Like, you don't accuse somebody of that. Like, come on, but whatever. She also said, I feel totally guilty for bringing this case against Malachi. I don't feel that it's right that he's in jail right now because all of us were angry and we got together and agreed to this case and we went ahead with it, and now he's facing life in jail for it. You don't think? You ain't think about. I ain't gonna come for this girl though. She also said, and what was said on the stand was a bunch of lies. Like I said, we all called each other up. We all backed each other's story. We all called each other up. We all backed each other's story. Where I'm at? Sorry, y'all. I lost my spot. We all backed each other's story. We all kind of, okay, you said this to this person and I said that to that person. Okay, that's fine. Jacob went to each and every one of us and tried to make it personal between each and every one of us. With me, it was like you was in charge, you had control of things, and so anybody could say blah, 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 whatever. It's up on the screen. Y'all can screenshot it. So yeah, like those are just some of little small little quotes and stuff that it's hot in this car. That that literally showed that it was literally a conspiracy. Like they plotted against him and his little weak little son helped the FBI, take his father down because Shorty was mad that his dad didn't give him no money. You a grown man. Mad someone ain't give you no money. You should be ashamed of yourself, Dookie. You should be ashamed of yourself. Like, come on now. Okay, so these testimonies from the alleged victims were just straight up sad. The lack of evidence was just crazy. Okay, so 8 out of 13 of the alleged victims literally testified for Dr. York, saying that nothing happened to them. How the victims saying that nothing happened to them and y'all still trying to make them victims? Like, make it make sense. Then 6 out of 7 of the people to be getting touched at the current moment testified for Dr. York, and 5 of them were proven by the state agency and judges that they were not touched whatsoever. And the lead prosecution witness recanted her statement and stated that it was all a conspiracy plot by his son. And another witness, mother and brother, testified against her statement, and her best friend even said that she started to feel bad about telling those lies about Dr. York. Now, y'all, the trial was literally closed to the public, okay? The transcripts were even sealed, and that's simply because the government witnesses was a mess. Like they couldn't even keep their story straight. Like it was all over the place. They couldn't even remember locations, dates, times. Okay, they couldn't even remember the original statements that they told the FBI agents in the first place when everything started. So what is it giving? It's giving very much lies. It's giving very much lies because if something really happened to you, you're gonna remember it for detail, for detail, for detail. You ain't gonna be over there messing up. And the courts ain't gonna be trying to cover it up by sealing the case and sealing transcripts. Okay. Now, remember when I said a few seconds ago that 5 kids were kidnapped, right, and medically proven to not have been touched. So after they was released, one of the kids got took into her father's custody. Now, out of nowhere, she coming up out of nowhere saying that she was touched. What is going on? It's given. Here, I'm gonna give you some money to do this, okay? They literally got to her. Like, it's okay. Y'all, it was a major judicial bias going on throughout the whole entire case. Like, every single thing Dr. York attorney would do would literally be blocked, denied, overruled. Like, look at this, for example. During the case, the prosecutors, they had like a week and a half to keep calling up witnesses. They witnesses even backstabbing them. They just keep calling up the witnesses, okay? But when it came time for Dr. York attorney to start bringing up their witnesses, the judge literally said that everything was just way too repetitive and he didn't have time. Excuse me? Like, they better than me, because I would have been like, yeah, lock me up for a reason. Y'all not about to be playing with me like this. To sum up this video real quick, just hear me out. It was victims saying that this did not happen to them. How is he still in jail? If these people are included in the indictment as victims, but they're saying that nothing happened to them, they have medical reports that nothing happened to them, how is this man still in jail? Like, the lead prosecutor's witness recanted her statement. How is he still in jail? There was no physical evidence, no doctors being called to the stand, no DNA samples, no pictures, no videos, no nothing. How is he still in jail? And lastly, to top it off, he is a Liberian citizen. By law, he was supposed to be deported. And to even make it worse, he literally requested to be deported back to Liberia, and they refused. But people still sitting up here talking about some, oh, he's a child molester. You sound crazy. Go do your research on the case before you start talking. Start yapping, okay? Thank y'all.